back.
We are live, episode 37. What?
Well, what? Live, but
not live, but we're recording. The red light is on in the corner.
It is.
This is
usually a red light means stop.
Yeah. Well, it means warning, I guess. It's that might be the safety warning to know that you don't know what's going to come out of the speakers at this point.
Especially after this morning.
This one's different, right? Because we're recording at a different time. This is in the morning. It's it's 10:30.
I mean, I'm not used to getting up this early.
It's sopping wet everywhere.
It is.
It's still it's a little early on a work day for a beer. So, well, but it doesn't mean it's not needed at this point in time.
They say you can't be drinking all day if you don't start now. And after this morning, I might consider it.
Why is it that you and I consistently have the same problems at the same time? We are 5 hours from each other.
Yeah, no, we are. There's something in the universe tying this together. It's constant.
We were literally, so for those of y'all, we're going to catch all up as we were getting ready to do this. And we're just sitting there on the phone earlier talking about other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, story of how all of this always works, talking about cemetery problems. So Austin has got some cemetery issues. I'm having cemetery issues. And then in the middle of the flipping conversation, my guy calls me. He drove to Austin this morning to do an install. And he's getting a phone call back. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. And of course, the family's there. I'm sorry, sir, but you can't. You're not. We were not given notification that you were coming, and you were. You've got to do your foundation a certain way, and blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, show me in your regulations where it is. One, we called and got your regulations from you when we started this project.
Is this the first time you've ever sat in the cemetery?
This is the first time we've ever installed in this cemetery.
Okay.
And I literally just showed you. Of course, we may share this here shortly after a while. But
were the pictures you sent me from this cemetery?
From that same cemetery, yes.
Oh, and he's wanting to sit here and like hammer rules down on you whenever there's crap like that sitting out there?
Yeah. This is sitting out there. This is one of those laminated countertop jobs that comes out of Mexico.
Monuments.
Yep. It's actually on a real base, which is rather surprising. But everything is just 2CM material glued together to barely make a monument on it. The next one is this job here, which...
Where's the concrete that he was just harping on you
Yeah,
about?
so that's really kind of what it was. Is the guy said that you got to have a concrete foundation. My guy brought concrete. Look, and you pick your scenario in which you want to be as far as how you do your monuments. Perfectly fine. On flat markers, I am the anti-concrete guy when it comes to flat markers. My reasoning for it, and I know a lot of people that do it. That's fine. Teach their own. My reasoning for it is I am adding more pounds per square inch below the surface, and all I'm doing is adding weight for it to sink.
Correct.
I would actually rather put crushed gravel underneath it if I'm going to put anything underneath it. But nevertheless, we don't typically do it. I have found, for me, at least in my area, that they sink less fast when I do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So
and inevitably, especially with flat markers, they're going to sink. And we'll guarantee what we set out there. And if and when, and especially with the cemetery across the road from me that allows no concrete whatsoever, it just makes it that much easier when we go back out there to do the re-level.
Oh, hey, look at this. This is the permit saying that we paid them. They were saying that we did not notify them that we were coming out.
Yeah, you haven't been in communication with them.
We haven't been in communication. This is the cemetery told us that we had not been in communication with them to let them know that we were coming out. This is the sales order or permit filing of saying, it says right here highlighted that we are coming out Friday the 30th. I'm going to say, I need to send this. Hey, send pictures of this to Desmond so that he can show that guy. It says very clearly that we were coming out Friday the 30th to do the install. And it says in there also that we have paid our paid the permitting fee of $85 to them. $85. And that was done on the 27th.
Well,
3 days ago. So I would say that's sufficient amount of time. Here, we can read it.
Maybe if you would just try to stay on top of things, things would run smoother.
Well, and that's just it. Is like, at what point in time are you? It's why are you making it more difficult? It's just a flat marker, and you're trying to make us look stupid in front of the family because whatever. And it's a city cemetery. It's not like they sell monuments. I don't believe. Why are you making this more difficult?
Of course, my situation this morning is we have a park bench that is ready to be set. It's going in the cemetery right across the road from me. And normally we have precast concrete foundations that we set those on, or we have the granite breakout foundations that we set them on. We don't have the granite sized ones that we need in stock right now. I've got some ordered, but we're good to go with the concrete because that's what we sold the family. And we get ready to set it, and cemetery says, now you are setting it on granite, correct? I said, no, we're setting it on concrete. I said, oh, well, we don't allow concrete. Since when? Well, it's a new rule. And of course, now we're sitting here scrambling around trying to figure out what to do. And the best we can come up with is fortunately, like many of us out there, we have what we call a bone pile out behind our shop, and we found a 4-foot flat marker that happens to be 8 inches thick. So it's going to be one hell of a foundation. And my guys are currently back there at the handset right now, knocking the SERP off the top of it. And that's going to become our new foundation. But the problem I have is these cemeteries, they're usually not that great about communication. And one of the main things that we ran into is that we have the rules from the cemetery. The only problem is in the very back page of this, especially this one particular cemetery, is their last rule in their states that they have the right to amend, change, create any new rule that they deem necessary, fit, whatsoever. And so that kind of just leaves us at a loss sometimes, because even whenever we do try to call them out on, well, this isn't one of your established rules, all they have to do is say, oh, it's a new rule. And, that's just how things are supposed to be from now on. And I don't know. It's unfortunate because here we are. We know this family is going to be out there when we're going to be setting the bench today, which the bench we're setting is a park bench. Just to be on the record, I hate park benches.
Yeah.
I think they're flimsy. They're just always looking like them. They're wanting to fall apart.
I like that. I mean, I actually probably break the rules a little bit where I sell the back support benches, the 2-inch ones, not the 4-inch estate benches. Those are, I've never sold one of those just because they're expensive. But I prefer the back support benches. So, which the problem is, I think they're called garden benches and not the harp leg. I don't like the harp leg benches. One, because you really probably should pin them, and I'm not really sure how well those pins are going to work for it because it's just not triangulated really well into it. You can, so I'll domo them, and we domo them to. I actually will use a granite foundation cap for all of those because I just fear the concrete breaking down. But that's just kind of our thing. I prefer the back support bench though, because if you're going to go out there and sit, you want something to lean against.
Correct.
Have
you ever sold one of the, they called them the couch style?
I have one on my porch right now. We have sold one that I had before, but I don't know where to get them. Those literally, you're going to laugh at me. We found them on like Facebook Marketplace, some shed. Somebody had 2 of them and they were damaged. I paid, you're going to hate me for this, I paid $100 a piece.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure I sold them.
So that means you have them listed to the public at $200.
No, I sold them for $3,000.
Well, you don't just apply your normal markup whenever you find discounted stock?
No, I'm not. I also don't. Never mind.
You're being nice. You're being nice.
Oh, I bit my tongue. If you see blood running down my chin, you know why.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah.
No, so I mean, these cemetery issues are stupid. I don't get it.
The particular cemetery that I was just talking about, just to make matters even worse, it's got to the point now that I don't think I will ever sell another bench over there ever again. And it's because of some of their, of course, their new proposed rule changes or official rule changes. We don't really know if it's official, proposed, or just somebody wants to say something to what they feel like that day. But
yeah,
they're telling me now that they will not allow a bench to be set on a piece of occupied property or property that will be occupied. That meaning, of course, there will be a burial there. They're telling me now that the family has to purchase an entire new piece of property around wherever their plots are so a bench can be set. And unfortunately, the cemetery across the road, their cheapest plot you can buy right now is $5,000. And yeah, so if a family did want to purchase a bench now, of course, they're gonna have to do the property. That's gonna be the $5,000, and then there's a few $100s of their service charges that go into the transfer of interment rights, things like that. And then, of course, there's the bench that they would purchase from me, and several $1,000s depending upon what type of bench they're wanting to do, and then the $525 permit fee.
Yeah.
So I doubt I'll ever sell another bench over there again. Fortunately, the one that we're setting today, that was sold under the old rules whenever things were semi-sane.
That's one of those things that drives me nuts too, is because the rules changing, it seems to be willy-nilly. It's kind of when we want to change rules. That was what you and I were talking about before over the phone, was that I've got one where we got new rules and regulations emailed out to us and everybody else. And as I'm reading through them, all the rules that they've added in there are all because of me. And it's not like we've broken any rules. We didn't break any of the rules that existed before.
They just want to try to prohibit you.
Yes.
Is what it boils down to.
Yes. And it's because I'll call and I'll ask a question. I want them to clarify the rule.
Well, the unfortunate part of that is whenever they create these new rules because they don't like what you've done or they just flat out don't like you. Newsflash, there may be people out there that don't like you. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure there's plenty.
I'm pretty sure there's a club.
I think there's like a group. There might be like a Facebook group.
I'm going to start one today. By the way,
we hate Tony. That would be hilarious. That would be absolutely hilarious. Make sure you add in Janine.
I'll make her the dadgum admin of it. But what these cemeteries need to realize whenever they, of course, in your case, you can go down through the rules and you can say, yep, that one's because of me. That one's because of me, so on and so forth. It's not hurting you. It's hurting families.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they don't realize that they must assume that that's the only cemetery we work in. I service 1,000 cemeteries within 90 miles of here. They see the equipment that pulls in. It's not cheap equipment. Like, oh yeah, certainly. It's all just due to the 1-2 jobs we sell in there annually or whatever. But like one right now we got going on, one particular, it's another section of that particular cemetery that is, it's across town. So it's a different cemetery that group took over, right? This is a religious, it's a Catholic cemetery that has taken over an old cemetery that was not Catholic. And we talked about this once before. I've got 2 monuments to go in there. Okay. both of those, the cemetery that in question was taken over within the last 6-7 years. Both of the plots were sold and deeded to those families 20 years ago. I've already done one of the monuments for one of the families 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. So they're wanting to kind of match their daughters that they put in. And so it's fine. And now they're being told, well, you have to have something religious in nature on the stone. And she goes, that, while I have no problem with religious stuff and we are Christian, I don't want it on there. That's not really who we were. We didn't go to church all the time. And I understand that, and as a Christian, I would wish that everybody had stuff on, like that's how they identified first, but I can't expect that of everybody. And that's not why I serve as people.
I've thought of that before, because I have one Catholic cemetery that one of the requirements for it is that there has to be some form of religious symbolism on it. And I've always thought, what if a family, if they wanted to challenge that, because let's say that they are religious people, obviously being buried in the Catholic cemetery, but they just wanted plain Jane. They just wanted name and dates on there. Mm-hmm. What if the family went to the cemetery and quoted 2 Corinthians to them and said, we walk by faith, not by sight?
Well, I mean, this is the same group that told me once upon a time that I couldn't put cotton on a monument because it was secular. And I go, this family raised cotton in the Brazos Bottom for generations, and 10% of their earnings, because they owned the farm, went to the church. I said, can you show me where a rose is biblical? Where's a pine cone biblical? I see that on a lot of them. I could get the wheat, because we talked about separating the wheat from the chaff. Pine cone, right? Yeah. But like, okay, I see. Where's a cardinal? I mean, how many times you see birds? Mm-hmm. There's only a couple of birds that are spoken about biblically, and I don't think a cardinal is one of them.
No,
because the cardinal bird is named for the cardinal of the church because of the color. So where, like, I could put an eagle on there. I can find biblically where that is. But like we're really kind of splitting hairs on this stuff, and it drives me nuts.
That's what burns me up the most with cemeteries that are ruled up, like the ones that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. This stuff is not complicated, and you're trying to sit here and tailor what can and cannot be done. And I get that there has to be rules that exist, so you don't have people going in there and just throwing things out there, and it makes the cemetery a mess.
Oh, you mean like the other pictures I showed you of the Mexican monument and the one that's sitting on boards? Like we're being told on that one in Austin right now that, oh, we've got to do this right. And I'm like, there's boards. Like, for those of y'all who can't see the picture, it is, what do you call it? Would you say that's a 4x6x2 that I showed you?
Dakota mahogany color.
Dakota mahogany with a vase, double money. It's probably not 4. It's probably 3x6x2. Yeah. And looking at it, and it's all fully sandblasted.
2x6s underneath it.
It has been sitting in the cemetery for a while. The final date on it is 24. So it's new, but it's been sitting out there for a minute, and it's still on 2x6s in the corners. Like, why was that not put down? Like, you're getting on to me about concrete under a flat marker. There's no concrete reveal on any of this stuff.
You're overlooking something here. You're overlooking the most obvious. The question that most people will say whenever somebody posts a picture of something obscure that needs to be called into question. Mm-hmm. What if the family wanted it that way?
Okay, well, my family doesn't want concrete under the monument.
Oh, man.
This is dumb. And my issue, I think, in this one, the one in Austin that we're dealing with right now, is that the cemetery sexton, and he comes off acting like a nice guy, right? And you heard me on the phone with him. I was very polite. I didn't chew him out. I said, well, let's take care of this for the family. We'll do this the right way. You let me know how you want to do it, and we'll get it all taken care of. Great. But, you step up and do this in front of the customer because my customer is there and they want to bury the cremains under the marker.
Yep.
And so you're going out there trying to assert your testicular fortitude to look something special. And I've taken care of everything and crossed all my T's and dotted all my I's. But that's not what you're trying to do. So I have enough of that stuff. It ticks me off because it's not right. It's not the way things should be handled.
The bench I was talking about earlier, we talked with the cemetery sexton earlier and said the family they're planning to be out there today. Can we go ahead and at least set the bench on the precast concrete foundation just so it's done on the day that we had arranged to have it done? My granite ones will be coming in next week. Can we come back out and swap it out? Because it's right across the road from us.
Yeah.
Nope, can't do that.
You can't swap it out?
Nope.
Oh. That makes sense. Sure. What?
Yeah.
Why? I can't begin to understand why certain things are the things that we're going to make be the final decision on these. It's just, and I hate to automatically go to, well, these cemetery sextons are trying to assert dominance over something. That's what it feels like. But is it that consistent? It seems awfully consistent.
Yeah. And fortunately, the cemetery sexton across the road, we do have a really good relationship with. His concern is his higher ups coming out there and seeing it. And I get him doing the CYA thing there, but also let's play this with some common sense too, and understand that if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to follow through. And of course, in the instance of giving me the opportunity to swap out the base, I would do it as soon as I possibly could.
Do you have a flat marker you could use instead?
I don't have anything wide enough because it needs to be a minimum 20 inches wide to accommodate for the legs.
You have a die?
That's what we're using. Yeah, it's going to be an 8-inch thick foundation that's underneath it, but fortunately it had no engraving on the back, and it's going to look really nice.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, that's how the cookie crumbles on that. But the problem I run into most with this cemetery, and I think that I don't think I know for a fact now that they just use this as a scapegoat. But since it is a perpetual care cemetery, the Texas Banking Commission oversees them. And anytime they come up with any new rule, regulation, whatever you want to call it, I'll say, okay, show me this in your rules. Like I need to know so I can reference this. And they'll say, well, it's a banking commission deal. And so this week I finally got tired of hearing banking commission. So thanks to ChatGPT and a conversation I had with it directed me to the exact phone number of the individual at the Texas Banking Commission that I needed to call. I got in touch with them. They sent me a copy of all their rules regarding rules for perpetual care cemeteries. And then also had a conversation with them about some of the questions I had about some of the rules, especially regarding benches, more notably cremation benches, because that cemetery has a whole nother spat with that. But the Banking Commission informed me that a lot of what I've been told is it has nothing to do with Banking Commission policy or any rules, laws, anything like that. So now I know, and of course, I'm not going to tip my hand yet. I'm going to wait for that day to come along whenever I can finally unload some of that information.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I just got this. This is what I was looking at earlier when I was talking to you about the foundation or the permit. So you can see here, that's the date that we agreed to with the cemetery that we were going to do the install. What does that date say? It's today's date.
Oh, yeah.
It's right here where my cursor is. Yeah.
Yep.
Right there. Yeah. And then you've got, when you scroll down, this is the backside. That right there is the date it was received that we sent it in. Here it shows where everything is. They know that it's a flat marker. There's nothing. It says flat right here. Jeez. You know,
so is he going to allow you to use Satcrete?
Yeah.
Okay,
Satcrete meets the regulations of what they were saying in their spec. That they were, it talked about number of parts per sand, per gravel, and per water, and cement. That meets Satcrete specs. And I would actually argue, like, because they're trying, oh yeah, you got to mix your concrete there and blah blah blah. No, Satcrete by itself, if you buy base level Satcrete, it is 3,500 pounds per cubic inch or square inch, whatever it is. But the rating on it is 3,500 pounds. So, it's not the concrete that is usually the issue. It's who's mixed it, how they've mixed it, and then beyond that, did you put anything in it like steel? The steel is actually what gives you your bend strength. Concrete in and of itself has no flex strength. It's not intended to flex.
Unless the Romans made it.
Well, even still, the Romans put something in it. So,
one thing that we would do here, because we had one cemetery that required us to do a 4-inch surround on any flat marker that we set in the cemetery, and to go back to one of your earlier points, I finally got that requirement squashed because they said it prevented the marker from sinking because it's a flat marker only cemetery. And I told them, I said, all you're doing is creating a heavier block to sink. And they said, no, but it's got 4 inches around, so it's going to stabilize it. No, you've just created something heavier.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you by just basic principles, yes, you have created a larger footprint, which is should displace the weight, but you have also added more weight.
And so that, of course, that logic really plays if you're talking about that I've poured a slab, because obviously more square footage creates more footprint. But
to that though, like we have one marker.
Whatever. Why? Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've got one right now where
we would mix the concrete here in the shop, and we would form them up and bring them out as a unit. And we kept a bag of fiber to throw into the concrete mix.
Yep. And that stuff's, I mean, depends upon what it is, but I haven't had good luck with that either, though. The fiber, just in general. So, to give you an idea, there was some stuff on campus that we just tore out recently that had fiber in it. It was just concrete with fiber, and it took us no time to get it up. Right. It was pretty pathetic. So here's another one for you. So when we talk about you were just talking about the size of your foundations. Now this is a different animal, right? If you talk about having to do a surround, this is one we've installed it. I can't find an install picture, but this is one that we just installed, and it's the height on it is right at like 4.5 feet tall or 5 foot tall or something like that. So doing what we did is we gave it's not an actual reveal because we cover it up, but it's got 4 inches of surround of concrete, so the foundation is wider, but there's a perimeter beam that goes down 18 inches around the outside of that foundation. Okay. So your regular concrete is about 6 inches thick, which is thicker than a barn slab. Okay. 6 inches thick. And then on the outside of that is a slot that is 4 inches wide and goes down to a depth of 18 inches around the outside perimeter of that foundation. which is how home foundations are done in the state of Texas.
Yes.
Which is why we do it that way, because with all the clay that's here, that shrink and swell that happens on the outside. And even if it does happen on the inside, you have what's kind of like a parachute. It can shrink and swell inside of that and move, but it's always going to have something there to rest on, like this. If you do it like this, it has the ability to slide and move and shift and do all that. So
is that just a big margin base, or is that kind of a beveled front?
No, there's a bevel front.
Oh, okay.
Let me see if I had a.
Who'd you rip that design off of?
It's probably like East Memorials.
Figures.
Here it is. This is it installed.
Oh, that's nice. I like that starburst.
Yeah.
I recognize that pattern on the sub base, though.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like a pattern I have.
That's it might have been copywritten. I don't know. Which is another continued story after the last one we talked about. There's been more of that going on too.
That's I just looked this morning and I see that there's some new comments going on for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, I actually lean a lot towards what Terry Joy is saying, because he is pointing out that it is artwork and it is stuff that you put effort into. He and I are a little different on it, where I will share my artwork, to others. And I've said, make it your own, do your own thing with it. I don't agree just going and ripping it off.
No, definitely not.
But, get permission, have questions, have conversations with these. If nothing else, it builds a rapport with other guys around the country. Do that, make those phone calls. But
well, one thing that can come out of that, especially if somebody saw something that you did, I did, or anybody else, and you call them and say, hey, I got a family that's wanting to try this, or, they love this memorial.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you, after even that one that you just showed me, there's still something else that you probably would have changed on it, possibly. And during that conversation, it's one of those things you could say, hey, you might try this, show them this, as long as you're willing to be open with them, like you say you are. And of course, I'm the same way. Excuse me. But I agree. I agree with what Terry says, that you shouldn't just be blatantly ripping off other people's work, because that just crosses an ethical line that we shouldn't be crossing. But at the same point in time, I don't see the hurt in seeing other people's work and at least trying to get inspiration from it. And of course, I'm not saying go out there and just one-to-one copy anything, everything that you see from other people's Facebook pages, websites, things like that. But look at these things. And one thing that helped me out, especially whenever I was getting my start and really starting to sink my teeth in and figure out how to draw, was looking at other people's work and replicating it, not for sale, but replicating it myself in my computer, just so I can understand what it took to make some of these unique shapes, to make these designs that are definitely outside of the box of your normal SERP tops and straight tops. And once I started to do that, that's whenever I started to get my own ideas of what it took to make the designs that people look at and they don't normally see in a cemetery. And building off of that's what's helped set me apart here in my market. And I just can't say enough how much it's helped me out doing that. And especially, having the conversations with you and other monument builders out there that have been willing to share so much with me. Like, John Scott's another one of those that he's one of those that was always open and willing to tell me a lot of different things of how to make these elevated designs that just stood out from the rest of them. And it's one of those that you just can't be apprehensive about reaching out to some of these other guys. Me, you, anybody like that. We're always willing to talk with one another.
Yeah.
Or at least for the most part, we are.
I think we always, I probably
to ad nauseum and to a detriment, answer the phone probably way too often. But I enjoy talking about. I love what we do. That's why we do the daggum podcast. You know, that's why we do this right now. Is because I enjoy this industry so much. I want people to improve, and I want things better for folks. That's why I have no problem sharing my stuff. I have no problem doing those things. Now, will I share my stuff with said individual who's creating problems? Hell no.
Right.
He can pound sand. So I have zero desire to do that. No, and I also have zero desire to ever install for him. So if he can't seem to share or help anybody else, then why would they ever help him? I don't think so. But in the same breath, everybody even within that thread, that's in that conversation thread, as much as there's some division on which way to go, I will tell you that of the people that I know in there directly, every one of them is willing to help. Mm-hmm. Every one of them that is in that thread that I know personally within that group will pick up the phone and help you with questions and stuff like that. They're not all going to see eye to eye, but that's fine. That's kind of how things work. So it's a good thing. These debates and conversations are good and they're valuable. And even the discourse is good and valuable. Mm-hmm. But stealing, no, is not. Right. And that's where I agree with Terry on this, is that Terry's right, is that we work hard to get these things done, and just taking them is not right. But he also pointed out that individual is directly advertising in everybody's backyard. Mm-hmm. And then wants everybody to do stuff for him.
Yes.
So no, it's not. There's caveats to everything.
And I'm not saying take the stance of not setting for him just out of, that principle, but
I won't set for anybody online.
That's what I was getting to is it's a straight across the board policy here.
Now,
the only outside setting I will do is for like you. I've got one Matt's supposed to be sending me sometime that I'm supposed to be setting around here.
For me, SMBA members, mm-hmm. MBNA members, AICA members, and all of those people. And if you're not within those groups, it's somebody that I know well, right? Mm-hmm. So meaning
except Jeremiah, he's kind of sketchy.
God, no, don't do anything for that Jeremiah, all hands.
We love you, Jeremiah.
Man, hey, how about that text thread the other day, though?
Well, that blew up.
He calls me up. So for those of y'all who don't know, I sent a text thread, a picture of a screenshot of a Facebook post from one of his competitors at one of his joints, and he about died. I said, because what it said was, tell me that you're afraid of Jeremiah without telling me you're afraid of Jeremiah. And so he called me up and he goes, there is such a backstory on that one. But no, look, there's a lot going on.
If you're ever wanting to really get at Jeremiah and you really want to get one over on him, just take him to the St. Louis Arch. He does not like that elevator ride.
So he and I was messing with him because the best part about this, and I think this is great because he's going to get to listen to this, and that means this goes public. If you know Jeremiah, he's a big fan of Ole Miss. He's a big Ole Miss fan. And that's his thing. His daughter has now been accepted into Mississippi State. And so it's quite a bit like Mark Cowart, because Mark Cowart was in the same boat. Big Ole Miss fan. Daughter went to Mississippi State. So I told him, I said, I'm going to buy him. My father-in-law went to Mississippi State. Great school. Good. But see, I like the ag schools. I like the land grant schools.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I told him, I said, I'm going to get you one of them obnoxious cowbells for yourself. Oh, man. Wait, but exciting stuff. Today is the 30th of May. So I don't know when you're going to get this thing produced and out, but that means
Probably Monday.
we are, okay, so Monday, from Monday, 1, 2, 3, we are 3 full weeks from when this comes out and gets published to convention. So June 22nd through the 24th, SMBA convention, San Antonio. Still got spots for I think we're actually out of the room block. That doesn't mean the hotel's full, but our allotted room block is now cleared. But there's still rooms. It's downtown San Antonio. There's rooms all over the place. But come check it out. We still got plenty. There are, as of last count, I think did he say like 40 vendors?
40 vendors, and we've had to turn away several. And that's unfortunate, but also fortunate that there's such a great vendor turnout.
Yeah.
And we're also talking with other vendors, trying to figure out how to seeing if they're willing to consolidate and maybe work with others.
I had one last week or earlier this week that wanted to come and called me up, and I said, man, we will gladly take your money. You are absolutely welcome to come. I have no booth space.
Right.
So he's like, I don't care. I'll go in a corner. I was like, that's exactly what's going to have to happen. I mean, as long as you're
if you're a vendor and you're wanting to come, but you've been told that there's no booth space, figure out how to make a mobile booth. Like, wear it around.
Yeah. You know, it'd be like that. What's the guy that does the street performer with the drum and the cymbals and
right, like the one man band.
Yeah. Be like that.
Yeah.
So, this is going to be a great show. I'm excited. It's good. It's going to be great to see everybody again.
You could go to Walmart or Harbor Freight or whatnot and buy one of those little collapsible tool carts. Just put your stuff on that and just push around.
Yeah. I mean, heck, go to Academy and get you one of the ones that you take to the ballpark for your kids.
Yup. Nah, I'm leaving work early today. Of course, that's why we're recording early today, because my son's got his last baseball tournament in the DFW area, and I'll be loading up one of those carts myself, so I can carry lawn chairs and cooler. And
well, test it out before you leave to see if it'll hold vases and things like that, so that way we know.
I might bring that with me. I don't know why I didn't think about that.
But no, it's going to be a good show. I'm excited. We're going to be we'll be heading down on that Saturday before.
Same here.
And just gonna go hang out with the kids, all that kind of stuff, and kind of go cause trouble.
You gonna go take them to SeaWorld?
No.
You don't want to see them?
We could go to. You ever been to Whiskey Cake? There's a Whiskey Cake at the mall over there.
I've heard of it. Had never been.
And there's a Tecovas over there.
Okay.
Which the only good thing about going and shopping at Tecovas is that when you're there, they will serve you alcohol while you're sitting there looking at their boots.
Oh, really?
It doesn't even mean you got to buy anything.
Speaking of Western Topwear, I meant to send this to you earlier. Poncho, because I know you're a big fan of their shirts.
Yep.
Their Father's Day sale is live right now. If you buy 2 shirts, you get 2 T-shirts or hats for free right now.
Oh, yeah. See, it's going to cost me some money there. So, I need to.
Of course, I've never been to a Tecovas store, and I don't know how big of a fan I am of their boots, but it's probably cheaper than the Lucchese store that we went in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, but not. Yes, it is cheaper. It does not mean you're shopping at Cavender's or you're shopping at Academy or Boot Barn.
Right.
So it don't get excited and worked up going, oh man, I got out of here scot free. No, it's still not cheap.
Hey, and then of course, and when we was in Oklahoma City, we went in the King Ranch store, and that's another one they'll serve you alcohol in.
Yep. So I'm trying to find La Cantera. There it is. So La Cantera is the hotel. There's another hotel there in San Antonio, and there's a mall down from the resort, and that's what I was looking for, because then I can read you some of the places that are there. But La Cantera is outside of Six Flags, and and SeaWorld and all that other stuff. But the shops at La Cantera. That's what I was looking for. There's like all that, like that needless markup and all that other garbage that's out there too. So, Banana Republic. So, for all you ladies that want to go do stuff, that's good. But they've got a whiskey cake restaurant, which is phenomenal. Nordstrom's. So yeah, all that highfalutin stuff.
What is whiskey cake?
That's actually a DFW place that started out, and it's but it's a highbrow kind of restaurant, kind of hippy dippy, whatever. But they've got a whiskey flights and stuff like that, and they've got a chocolate cake that's made with whiskey, and it's good. So
I'll try the whiskey, but I'll stop at the cake.
Well, you probably, that makes about a lot of sense actually.
Mm-hmm.
But no, so there's a lot of really cool things out there. We'll probably head out that way or go to, I talked to you about Pearl. Their place has got, you can hang out there, and that place is good. There's Black Rifle Coffee all over San Antonio. So just different things, man. There's a lot to do out there. Come on out, see us. Like I said, we've got a number of retailers showing up. The numbers look really good, but we can always hold more. You will not be overcrowded, I promise. But the information, I think the AI thing is actually kind of cool. If you're wanting to know more about AI designing, I think that's worth showing up. Is bring a designer or something like that. We've got a few people. There's somebody.
And even if of course you're like me, you have a personal relationship with your chatbot now.
Yeah.
Even if you do use AI quite a bit and you think that you've got a pretty good handle on it, still come and listen, because I guarantee that you're going to hear something that's at least going to point you in a direction to inspire you to try something else with it, because there's even the Facebook groups for it.
Yep.
And I always see a lot of different creative prompts on there that give me different ideas of how to integrate AI into what I'm using here.
And there is, of course, the other thing is our design contest is live. You can only participate if you are a full registered member, meaning that you are not just taking part of the free contest, the free registration. It means you've paid to be there, and you are coming to the bank, not coming to the banquet, but you've paid for the banquet, that kind of thing. It doesn't mean you have to be there. We'd like you to be there, but it is what it is. So in that is monument.vote /SMBA designs 25 or design 25, not plural.
Okay.
And so that is the URL is up, page is up. Submissions are accepted. Actually, currently, you can start putting stuff in. The submissions will run till June 23rd at midnight. I say at midnight. Don't get all excited. It's 11:59. So if you go, oh, it's at midnight. Shut up. I don't really care. 11:59. Okay. And the voting period will actually start on the 22nd. Okay. So keep in mind, if you're doing submissions, voting is starting on the 22nd at noon. So you want your submissions in before that. I promise, because it makes a difference. So But
and
no,
I've talked to several people about the design contest, and they've said, "Well, I don't have anything good enough." Well, you're always going to be your harshest critic.
Yep.
Take what you're proud of and put it in there.
Yeah, why not?
Because there's also not a point during this design contest to where we pull everything up and critique everything in front of everybody and tell everybody, look at what this idiot did.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
But here's the deal: is I learned so much from just those design contests as it is, not even from just other ways of looking at something and approaching it at a different angle. So it's worth it. So get in there, register, come join us. It's going to be a blast. Downtown San Antonio always is awesome. And actually, from the rains this last week, it looks like it's been heavily washed out. So it'll be clean.
Should be getting clean by then, right?
But no, come check us out. It's going to be good. Other than that, man, I'm excited for what's coming up. I'm going to be out next weekend, taking Emily to Lake Tahoe for her 40th birthday celebration. Her birthday was a month or so ago, but it's in the midst of a billion things going on. So I, and a couple of friends are headed out to Lake Tahoe, and we're having a good time.
Oh yeah, no, that's I looked on the design contest website yesterday, and I see that. Of course, there's no names associated with anything, but I see that you've put a few things in.
Because you've seen them before, or because you're guessing?
I don't think I've seen any of the ones before, but I can tell.
Let's see.
That's next week. My plan is to bring my.
It's not everything. Not everything in there is mine.
No, not everything is, but I can point the ones out that are. I mean, it's at this point you might as well sign your work because I know I can point it out. It's that bad.
Yeah, and you know what though it's that stuff that makes me really push harder to see if I can change it because I want to be able to produce in different styles. So, and that's what these contests are for.
Bingo. You're just wanting to win that top prize this year, aren't you?
And how's it coming?
It's coming along. I checked it right before we got on, and we are right before the assembly on it.
All right.
Coming along nice. Still don't want to totally give away what it is, but trust me, you want it. Not
it's gonna be nice.
Not just you specifically, but
yeah, I've got to get out and break out the other ones. I'm a little behind on that, but
yeah, that's next week. I'm going to cut the tile for the other ones and get to etching on that.
So,
and then we still need to come up with the second part of the big one.
Yeah,
need to get that hammered out.
Yep,
I've got some stuff here that I think will work well for it, and
I think so too. I think I've got some stuff if we need to, whatever, but we'll get it all knocked out, and ready to roll.
Mm-hmm.
But all right. Well, on that note, I think we'll close it out for today. It's time to go get lunch.
Because I dang sure don't want to talk about baseball right now.
No, me either.
Kind of
and on either front. On either front.
No, it's. I'm actually going to a baseball game tonight, and of course, you always go in with hopes of watching your team win, but also know that our team cannot hit a ball to save their life.
Well, I mean, look, there is good news because you're coming down to Houston for a ball game with me.
Yep.
In July.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got the tickets for all that. We've got pretty good seats. So I think it's going to be a good time.
I'm looking forward to that.
Both families and all that.
Been down to, I guess, what they call the ice box now.
Yeah. But it's, it's going to be watching a couple of girls just kind of swing at each other like this, and just it's going to be rough. But, I would guess two bottom of the line teams fighting for something still better than.
But regardless, and of course, like I said, I'm going to a baseball game tonight, watch the Rangers play the Cardinals. And
Oh, you can see Bryce. Isn't Bryce Harper still out there?
No. Harper, he's a Philly.
No, okay. Who's over there at the
Shit, I don't even
now?
know who's with the Cards now because of course Molina retired a couple years back, their catcher, and then Goldschmidt, their first baseman, he's a Yankee now, and of course Pujols is retired.
Yeah, I'm looking through their little lineup here.
But regardless of how it all turns out or anything, there's no such thing as a bad day at the ballpark.
No, there's not.
As long as
until
I get to sit there
until you get destroyed, but it's another animal. So
now, as long as I get to sit there with a hot dog in my hand, a beer in the other, I'm happy. I'm watching baseball. I'm happy.
So, all right. Well, on that note, we'll sign out.
All right. Have a good one.
Y'all have a good one.